Well, hello everybody out there who is listening, and welcome to another edition of the Open Circle and Chapter 3 of Scott Cunningham's Guide to the Solitary Practitioner. Once again, if everybody already doesn't know me, my name is Widdershins. Well, let's go ahead with the opening prayer. And I will read you a little bit of the news, and then I'll put a feeler out there, lucid, and if you're still feeling pretty good about it, then I would absolutely love to read it. Okay? So, let me bring up my goodies. This is broadcast number 10 of the Open Circle. Mother of Earth, Father of Sky, we ask for your blessing this night. And we ask you to help us change the fear and to help people understand and see us for who we really are. We ask for your strength to lead by example. We ask that you help our rulers to rule by peace and not by the sword. We ask that those we love will find a true path of their own, and that the ill be comforted and surrounded by your light. And finally, we ask that we're strong enough to reach into our hearts and help stop hunger by sharing a meal or a bag of food. We offer this prayer to the east and to air by our breath, that we pray with wisdom. We offer this prayer to the south and to fire, that this prayer be carried with the passion of a whole heart. We offer this prayer to the west and to the sea, that this prayer flow as our blood and give us hope. We offer this prayer to the north and to the earth, to the mother, that she may endow it with the strength of our bodies. By the body and the earth, by the blood and the sea, by the heart and the fire, by the breath and the air, be it so. So how is everybody tonight? I saw a story that I thought you guys would all be really interested in. How many of you out there have to occasionally use a public computer, say at the library or whatnot, and deal with all the restrictions as far as what you're allowed to surf? I know there's quite a few people out there. I'm not sure if anybody out there is online right now who is unfortunately strapped to a public computer. But I saw this story, and so here we go. In the news today, a judge has issued a ruling in Missouri's very own Salem witch trial. A federal district court has ordered the public library in Salem to stop blocking patrons' accesses to websites relating to minority religions, which web filters had at times apparently classified as occult or even criminal. The American Civil Liberties Union of Eastern Missouri announced this today. Now, as we reported last year, the censorship was brought to light when a Salem resident complained that she couldn't go onto websites about Native American religions and the Wiccan faith. As she says, libraries do not have a license to censor viewpoints they disagree with. This is a quote from Tony Rathert from the ACLU EM legal director. Viewpoint discrimination should not be tolerated. The decision from Judge Richard Weber in a case the ACLU brought forward on behalf of Salem resident Annika Hunter says the library is prohibited from having filters that block access to sites beyond basic, explicit, and other viral filters that they can legally maintain. The official judgment, which is on view publicly, says that changes were made in August of 2011 prior to the filing of the case of this particular lawsuit, such that Salem patrons did in fact have access to websites in question in the litigation. In this week's order, Weber writes that the library is officially banned from reactivating filter categories other than adult image, porno, phishing, proxy, anonymizers, viruses, and some of the other, things. The ACLU says that Hunter was blocked from researching websites discussing minority religions' ideas about death and death rituals. She had originally protested to the library director about not having access to these websites, and through portions of sites, and though portions of sites were unblocked, a lot of them still remain censored. So as of now, it seems the library has a direct order to keep these sites uncensored. So now if you go into your local library and you find that being able to surf the occult sites and such is restricted, you have now precedent and legal recourse to insist that these bans be lifted. So that is huge. Absolutely huge. So now you can at least research Wicca, you can research the occult, Native American, death practices, whatever you want to research. And legally, they cannot ban you because it's a minority religion. So I thought you would be very happy to know that. Now there's two poems that I wanted to read for you. One is courtesy of Lucid, and another one is a charge called the Dark Goddess's Charge. And it's written by a young lady named Lynn O'Connor. So I'm going to go ahead and now I've only read this once, so please bear with me if my cadence is a little off, but it's absolutely beautiful. All right, Lucid, are you still okay with this? I'm waiting for your high five. It happens. I'll take that as a yes. And this was just given to me from Lucid. If the sun is clouded over and the stars don't shine at night, put some gratitude in your attitude and it'll be all right. For if you're running off the tracks and there ain't no engineer, I am goddess, I am God. Just ride that train right here. When you think you've lost everything and you don't even want to have fun, with love in your heart, you can't be apart from anything or anyone. When your vehicle is damaged and you think there's only one place to drive, with a smile on your face and a laugh as your grace, your soul will come alive. Love is all you have, hope is all you need. Fear is all that's to be feared. Let this be your creed. I absolutely love that. Now I know, unfortunately, my cadence. Isn't that beautiful? I absolutely love that. Yes, yes, Lou said. I see you. Thank you very much. Now, if you guys want to listen to one more before we start in with something a little more serious, Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner by the wonderful late Scott Cunningham. This is called Charge of the Dark Goddess. So, here we go. This is by Lynn O'Connor. The Dark Goddess speaks to us through the mouths of Lilith, Kali, Tiamat, Hecate, Nyx, the Black Madonna, Nemesis, and Morgane. I am the darkness behind and beneath the shadows. I am the absence of air that awaits at the bottom of every breath. I am the ending before life begins again, the decay that fertilizes the living. I am the bottomless pit, the never-ending struggle to reclaim that which is denied. I am the key that unlocks every door. I am the glory of discovery, for I am that which is hidden, secluded, and forbidden. Come to me at the dark moon, and see that which cannot be seen. Face the terror that is yours alone. Swim to me through the blackest oceans, to the center of your greatest fears. The dark God and I will keep you safe. Scream to us your terrors, and yours will be the power to forbear. Think of me when you feel pleasure, and I will intensify it, until the time when I may have the greatest pleasure of meeting you at the crossroads between the worlds. Now that is the Dark Goddess Charge. Really, really, really a beautiful poem. And it just goes to show that not everything in the craft is butterflies and glitter and unicorns. That there is a place for the dark. Because without the dark, we'd never see the light, and we wouldn't appreciate what we had. If it wasn't for death, there would be no flowers. Everything is balance. So, if everybody's ready, actually, why don't we do this real quick? Does anybody want to grab a cup of coffee, run to the ladies' room, smoke a smoke, take 5, and come up for air with a pen and paper and go over chapter 3 in this wonderful book titled Wicca for the Solitary? Chapter 3 is called Magic. So, you guys, go ahead, take a break, grab a drink, grab a pen. Yeah, Scott Cunningham's books are wonderful for getting a general feel for the attitude of a particular faith. Every faith has a certain feeling about it. A root, so to speak, that you will either play to or it won't resonate with you. So, Wicca for the Solitary gives you, basically, it gives you that little pond to dip your toe in, and you can see if you want to jump in. So, Scott Cunningham himself said that nothing in these lessons are engraven in stone. And what we're going to do is just basically read them, talk about them, see if you guys want to add any particular thoughts or expound on any of the ideas. And, if you're familiar with Wicca, this will be kind of old hat, but if you're not familiar with Wicca or witchcraft, because these books, even though they are called Wicca for the Solitary, they encompass more than Wicca. They go back to kind of the shamanic roots of where all this comes from. And Wicca's roots are in, if you want to go really, really, really far back, are in the basic shamanic practices. As we became more sophisticated as a culture and more sedentary as a culture, our gods changed in personality. So as times turned, we find that the gods and goddesses changed from your basic hunting god and your basic harvest god, goddess. They became much more political. They started taking on attributes of people. So if everybody's all comfy and ready to go, we will start Chapter 3, called Magic. It's common knowledge, even among the masses, that witches practice magic. They may have misguided ideas concerning the types of magic performed, but the witch is firmly linked in popular thought with the magical arts. Wicca is, as we have seen, a religion that embraces magic as one of its basic concepts. This isn't unusual. In fact, it's often difficult to discern where religion ends and magic begins in any faith. Still, magic plays a special role in Wicca. It allows us to improve our lives and return energy to our ravaged planet. Wiccans also develop special relationships with the goddess and god through magic. This doesn't mean that every spell is a prayer, nor are invocations just differently worded spells. Through working with the powers which the god and goddess embody, we grow close to them. Calling upon their names and visualizing their presence during spells and rites creates a bond between deity and human. Thus in Wicca, magic is a religious practice. I've defined magic a number of times in many books. Surprisingly, it's a difficult task. My latest, most refined definition is magic is the projection of natural energies to produce needed effects. There are three main sources of this energy: personal power, earth power, and divine power. Personal power is the life force that sustains our earthly existences. It empowers our bodies. We absorb energy from the sun, from the moon, from the water, and food. We release it during movement, exercise, sex, and childbirth. Even exhaling releases some power, though we recoup the loss through inhaling. In magic, personal power is aroused, infused, with a specific purpose, released, and directed toward a goal. Earth power is that which resides within our planet and in its natural products, such as stones, trees, wind, flame, water, crystals, and scent. All of these possess unique, specific powers which can be used during a magical ritual. A Wiccan may dip a quartz crystal in salt water to cleanse it, and then press it against an ailing person's body to send its healing energies within. Or herbs may be sprinkled around a candle which is burned to produce a specific magical effect. Oils are rubbed into the body to effect internal changes. Both personal power and earth power are manifestations of divine power. This is the energy that exists within the goddess and the god, the life force, the source of universal power, which created everything in existence. Wiccans invoke the goddess and god to bless their magic with power. During ritual, they may direct personal power to the deities, asking that a specific need be met. This is truly religious magic. And so magic is a process in which Wiccans work in harmony with the universal power source, which we envision as the goddess and god, as well as with the personal earth energies, to improve our lives and to lend energy back to the earth. Magic is a method whereby individuals, under none but self-determined predestination, take control of their lives. Contrary to popular belief, magic is not supernatural. True, it is an occult, a hidden practice, steeped in millennia of secrecy, slander, and misinformation, but it's a natural practice utilizing genuine powers that haven't yet been discovered or labeled by science. This doesn't invalidate magic. Even scientists don't claim to know everything about the universe. If they did, the field of scientific investigation wouldn't even exist. The powers Wiccans use will eventually be documented, and will eventually lose their mystery. Such has already partially occurred with hypnotism and psychology, and may soon happen to ESP, magnetism. Indeed, magnetism indeed was a firmly established aspect of magic until it was discovered by science. But even today, magnets are still used in spells and charms, as such forces as these call up strange old feelings. Play with two magnets. See the invisible forces resisting and attracting in seemingly in supernatural ways. And magic is very similar. Though it appears to be completely nonsensical, with no basis in fact, it operates along its own rules and logic. Simply because it's not fully understood doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Magic is effective in causing manifestations of needed change. This isn't self-deception. Correctly performed magic works, and no amount of explaining away alters that fact. Here's a description of a typical candle ritual. I'll use myself as an example. Say I need to pay a $100 phone bill, but I don't have the money. My magical goal is the means to pay the bill. I decide to use a ritual to help focus my concentration and visualization. Checking my magical supplies, I discovered that I have green candles, patchouli oil, a good selection of money-drawing herbs, parchment paper, and green ink. At my altar, I light the candles representing the goddess and god, while silently invoking their presence. Next, I ignite a charcoal block and sprinkle cinnamon and sage onto the block as a magical prosperity incense. I draw a picture of the phone bill on the paper, clearly marking the amounts and numerals. While drawing, I visualize the paper as no longer just a piece of paper, but the bill itself. Then I sketch a square around the bill, symbolizing my control over it, and mark a large X through it, effectively canceling out its existence, as will occur when it's paid. Now I start visualizing the bill being paid in full. I might write this over the picture, making it appear to have been stamped with these words. I visualize myself looking into my checkbook and saying that the balance will cover the check, and then writing the check itself. Next, I light a green candle with patchouli oil from each end to end and into the middle, while saying something akin to the following. I call upon the powers of Mother Goddess and Father God. I call upon the forces of earth, air, fire, and water. I call upon the sun, moon, and stars to help bring me the funds to pay this bill. Still visualizing? Place the candle in the holder directly above the picture of the bill, sprinkle herbs around it, stating and visualizing that each is lending its energy towards my goal. Sage, herb of Jupiter, send your powers to my spell. Cinnamon, herb of the sun, send your powers to my spell. Once this is done, still visualizing my bill as paid in full, I light the candle, and as its flame shines, release the energy I've built up into the picture. I let the candle burn for 10 or 15 minutes longer, depending on my ability to retain my visualization, and I see the candle absorbing the energy that I've put into the picture. I see the herbs streaming their energies into the flame, and see the combined energies of the herbs, the candle, the oil, and the picture, coupled with my personal power, pouring from the flame and out to bring my magical goal towards manifestation. When I can do no more, I remove the picture, light it in the candle, and hold it as it burns for a few seconds, and then throw it into the small cauldrons that sits beside my altar. Finished, I allow the candle to burn itself out. Now, this is an interesting little side note, and I'm letting you guys in on one of my practices. It is considered very insulting to blow out a flame when you're doing a working. Either pinch the flame out or cover it with a snuffer or something that you can use as a snuffer. Another thing to do is you can use your bowline to douse the flame, but never blow a flame out. Okay? And when you blow a flame out, I mean, when you put your fire out, not blow your flame, but when you put your fire out, pay attention to the coils of smoke that remain, because it's very symbolic of your intention being carried into the universe. Okay? Within a day or two, or perhaps a week, I'll either receive an unexpected or delayed money, or will satisfy some other financial obligation in a manner which frees me up to pay the bill. Now, how does this work? From the time I decide to do an act of magic, I am doing it. Does everybody understand what that means? When you start planning a ritual in your mind, that ritual is already being worked, because your energy is already going to the ritual. That visualization, say you're imagining how you're going to set everything up, all of that is part of the ritual. And that's where some of the ability comes for, a lot of people who have been working in magic for a long, long time can do an entire ritual right into their mind. And that's another reason why tools are still considered just tools. Tools harness no power. The altar itself harnesses no power. You harness the power. Your intent, your visualization. Yes, people, as Lucid says, people do work all the time without even realizing it. When you focus on, or you see something played out in your mind, you've already cast it into the universe. Tools are wonderful, don't get me wrong, but dependence on them can also be a weakness. While you're using a tool, always remember that it is still just a tool. There is no power in it. It is simply something that you use to focus your intent. The same way that a lot of people, when they go into a circle, like to wear a certain outfit or a robe or be sky-clad. It is part of the ritual itself. It puts you in a certain mind frame, the same way having an athame in your hand helps with casting a circle, or your wand helps casting a circle. But the same power can be in just your finger or in your gesture. Scott Cunningham has something called the Ritual of Gestures. I think that's what it's called. And the entire ritual is done silently. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Newfie's familiar with it. And I think we talked about it briefly before. But anyway, carrying on. I may not be able to tell you exactly how magic works, only that it does work. Fortunately, we don't have to know this. All we must know is how to make it work. I'm no expert on electricity, but I can plug my toaster into a wall socket and burn a whole loaf of wheat bread. Similarly, in magic, we plug into energies that stretch, crisscross, zip around, and through us. There are many ways to practice magic. Wiccans generally choose simple, natural forms, though some enjoy heavy ceremony, borrowing from the classical grimoires, such as the Key of Solomon. Usually, however, it involves herbs, crystals, rocks, water, the use of symbols and color, magical gestures, voice, dance, and trance, astral projection, meditation, concentration, and visualization. There are literally thousands of magical systems, even among Wiccans themselves. For instance, numerous magical Numerous magical ways exist to use crystals, herbs, or symbols, and combining them, even more systems are created. Many books have been published outlining magical systems, and some of these are listed in the bibliography of this book. In my books, I've discussed the powers of the elements, crystals, and herbs. In this work, the subject of rune magic is also explored as an example of self-contained magical systems, with hints at combining it with others. Such systems aren't necessary to the successful practice of magic. Performing magical rituals simply by manipulating tools such as herbs and crystals will be ineffective, for the true power lies within ourselves and in the gift of deity. So no matter the magical system that you use, personal power must be infused with the need and then released. In Wiccan magic, personal power is recognized as our direct link to the goddess and god. Magic, therefore, is a religious act in which the Wiccans unite their deities to better themselves and better the world. This is important. Magic is a positive practice. Wiccans don't perform destructive, manipulative, or exploitive magic, because they recognize that the power at work in magic is ultimately derived from the goddess and god. Negative workings are absolutely taboo in Wicca. Evil magic is an insult to themselves, to the human race, to the earth, to the goddess and god, and to the universe itself. The repercussions can be imagined. The energies of magic are those of life itself. I think all magical systems are very deeply rooted in history. And Lunilex, this is your question, and you write, so you mentioned that there are many magical systems, but do all of them revolve around history? I do believe everything is rooted in history, and magical systems as well, but I think we also create magical systems. So history is an ever-unfolding process. It isn't just in the past, it's also in the present. Does that make any sense? Yes. Yeah, and that's where the roots of Wicca itself actually lay, is in since the beginning of time. Shamanic practices have been ever evolving. We create them. Anyone can practice magic, within a religious context or not. And this is an important note. Okay? Everybody can practice magic. It does not have to be within a religious context. If certain words or gestures pop into your mind while performing a spell, and they seem right, by all means use them. If you can't find a ritual to your liking or that fits your needs, create one. You needn't write fancy poetry or choreography or for 30 singing incense bearers and 13 singing priestesses. If nothing else, light a candle, settle down before it, concentrate on your need, and above all, trust yourself. Don't second guess yourself. If you truly desire to know the nature of magic, practice it. Many are afraid of magic. They've been taught by non-practitioners that it's dangerous. Don't be scared, because crossing the street is dangerous, true, but if you do it properly, you're fine. Of course, the only way you'll find this out is to cross the street. If your magic is infused with love, you'll be in no danger. Call upon the goddess and god to protect you and teach you the secrets of magic. Ask stones and plants to reveal their powers. And listen. Listen to the wind. Listen to the stones. Read as much as you can, discarding negative or disturbing information. Learn by doing, and the goddess and God will bless you with all you truly need. Now, we all have to keep in mind that there is a necessary destruction that, as I call her, Pachamama, and is not all butterflies and glitter. We have to remember that the richest silt that grows the richest plants can come from the tidal wave. Death is a balance. Death is a transformation. Death is as important to us as life. Compost is death. We have to remember that everything that we have has been a result of life and death and the four elements. I can look over at this water cup that's sitting next to me, and I can see the water that it holds. But I can also see the fire, well, the five elements of spirit, but I'm talking about strictly the physical elements. Spirit is also considered an element. But when I look at my cup, I can see the fire that was used to melt the plastic, the earth that supplied the resources to create the plastic, the water, the air, even the empty space between the water and the top of the cup. Heat, air, fire, water, all of these. And in that cup that's half full of water is also the intent of humanity to create it. So it's not just a cup. It is the elements, the intent of mankind. And that's one of the things that I try to keep in mind when I eat a meal. Yes, and that's precisely the point. That's precisely the point. Everything that you touch, everything that you see is an incorporation of the elements and the intent to create it. Yes, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And that's a very, very eye-opening thing. When you look, I do not see as negative. Looney's question: why does negative action cause a lessening of energy? And I do not believe it does. I believe all action creates energy. Energy in itself is neutral. It's how we use it. I can see, it's like Scott Cunningham's analogy of the toaster. You can plug a toaster into the wall and toast your bread, create a meal, fire up the stove, use it to read. Or you can strap somebody into an electric chair and take away their life. It's a matter of how you're using it. whether you were taking or whether you are giving, and whether you can give back. It's one of the reasons we ground at the end of a ritual. We give back to the earth which is in excess of what we need. None of the elements are good or bad. Fire destroys, but fire creates. Water destroys. If you ever watch a slow drip on a stone, you'll start to see the indentation as that stone wears out from underneath. Or you'll see it build up. Earth. Earthquakes, tornadoes, wind, rain, all of these destructive forces are important because without them we wouldn't be able to look out and see the mountains. There would be no mountains without destruction. So categorizing something as good or bad is something that really needs to be thought about. It's not, nothing is as simple as the words that you use to categorize it. There is no good or bad. There is, I sum it up as not good or bad, but helpful or harmful. There is, what I do is I think about how it's going to affect somebody else. If I have something to say, if somebody asks me something silly, like, does this dress make me look fat? There's a decision right there. And that decision is honesty, which we all say honesty is the best policy. Then there is honesty with compassion. Then there's beating around the bush. And there's hiding. Now, if the dress does make you look fat, there is a very kind way to put it. Or you can just say, hey, I like this dress better. Why don't you try this one? And sometimes you have to say to yourself, will the answer do any good at all? And if the answer gives nothing, or if it hurts, then temper it, or give an alternative. But not everything, just what I'm basically saying is that everything doesn't need to be spoken. Whether it's true or not, if it doesn't serve a purpose to hurt something, if there is no good to come out of it, then basically keep your mouth shut. Speak little, listen much. And remember that every word that comes out of your mouth affects somebody, always. There is no such thing as an empty word. Words either lift somebody up or they tear them down. Sometimes harm can't be avoided, and that's where tempering comes in. If something has to be said that you know is going to hurt, then think about it. Think about how to do it. Think about how to make it healing. Honesty doesn't have to be brutal. Honesty can be loving. Remember to always keep your words gentle when you can. And remember too, there is something that I learned very, very early on in practicing magics. And that is never, ever practice magic when you are not able to think straight. If you are angry or in love or in a state of ecstasy or rage, always wait to perform any magic. Because magic done in the throes of passion or rage will almost always be regretted. Now, Scott Cunningham also said that magic does not have to be religious. Everybody who practices magic does it for a different reason. Some of us do it for religious bonding with God and Goddess and to become one with the divine. But scientists, agnostics, other people, Buddhists, it doesn't matter whether you have a religious background or not. You can practice magic. Magic is scientific. Okay? Magic is science, unproven. It's still the reason, just like aspirin, so many witches were put to death by grinding white willow and creating a tea to take down a fever. And for that they were burned. Now we know it as aspirin. Salicylic acid once caused many deaths, caused much fear. But one day, what we call magic will be called science. And then there'll be a new magic. Because science is ever evolving, as questions are ever evolving. So there will always be magic. We just get higher up the ladder. Exactly. The two aren't mutually exclusive. Anyway, I have rambled on long enough. That was Chapter 3 of Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner. Anybody have anything that they want to add to tonight's discussion before we go off air? I want to. The next chapter that we're going to be reading is called The Tools. Now, we kind of touched this on this just a little bit earlier this evening. And I will, if you guys want to get a jump on the next chapter, I'll read off to you just the basic tools that we're going to be covering, okay? The first one would be the buzz, or the broom. We'll be talking about the wand, the censer, the cauldron, the athame, the bowline, your crystal or sphere, the cup, the pentacle, the book of shadows, and the bell. Okay? Everybody get all those? So if you feel like it, and want to take a little more interactive approach to next week's discussion, we will be covering these. And if anybody, please, I would love to see if you guys have any pictures of any of your tools. Your sensors, your athames, your bowlines, post them up on witcheschat.com, and would absolutely love to share those. Okay, so get your cameras out, take some pictures, set up your altar, share it with us, and I'll share mine with you. Love you guys. You guys take it easy. You have a wonderful night. And as of now, the circle is closed. Bright blessings to all.